Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the story about Naruto. What if Naruto had ultimate kekkei genkai, part 2. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please do support for more awesome content. And also guys, check out my new channel, link is in the description. And subscribe it really means a lot to me. So let's start the video. The country of Wave had a spectacular celebration after Naruto woke. The entire populace was extremely happy with the downfall of Gato, except two. While they didn't particularly care for Gato, it was another person that was lost the day before that dampened their need to celebrate. Haku stood out on the docks near Tazuna's house staring out at the ocean. He barely acknowledged Naruto's presence. No words were said, the two just sat in silence. When time for the celebrations came, Haku did not go with them, saying he needed time to himself. Naruto and Sasuke didn't stay long either. The former was concerned about his new friend, the latter wanted to get away from his fangirl. It was soon afterwards that the bridge was finished and it was time for Team 7 and Haku to leave. They made one last stop at Zabuza's grave, his sword sticking out of the ground as a sort of headstone. Haku burned some incense and Sakura placed flowers on his grave. I was wondering, Kakashi-sensei said to Sakura, does a ninja really have to be what he said a ninja should be? Haku was now looking at Kakashi in great interest. Shinobi are not supposed to seek their reason to exist, Kakashi explained, it's important that they exist as tools. That idea exists in Konoha too. As he was speaking, Sakura walked back towards the others. Haku looked towards Naruto who seemed to be at a crossroads. He was staring blankly over the cliff, a myriad of emotions passing over his face. After a silent moment he came to a decision as he spoke. Does becoming a real ninja really mean that? He asked. It was a simple enough question. One that Haku would have answered yes to immediately only a few days before, yet the blonde boy in front of him made him question whether or not it was true. I kind of don't like that he had an uncharacteristic frown on his face. Do you think so? Asked Sasuke to Kakashi. Well, no. That's why ninja unconsciously suffer from that idea, he answered, like Zabuza did. Naruto stared back at the grave a moment longer before speaking again. Alright. I'm going to follow my own rules. I'm going to run straight down the path where I am not going to regret anything. He looked up into the sky as he was speaking, a small genuine smile graced his features. Kakashi looked surprised for a moment but then gave him a small smile that was only visible but the small crinkling of his left eye, which was the only exposed area of his face. Haku also gave Naruto a small smile as well. We've completed the bridge thanks to you, said Tazuna, we're going to miss you guys. Be well, said Tsunami. Thank you for everything, said Kakashi. Don't worry, we'll visit you again one day, said Naruto cheerfully. He no longer wore his orange jacket because it had been irreparably damaged. So he just had on a black t-shirt with the red spiral design on the front and his orange pants. He also wore his Hittite around his neck. He didn't want it to become incinerated once he figured out how to call on the orange and black fire again, nor did he want it to cover the Jagan. Kakashi-sensei had told him that the orange and black flame was called the mortal flame. It burned hotter than any other flame and was often compared to lava from a volcano. To Kakashi's knowledge, only the Yondaime was capable of using the mortal flame because of the Jagan. The Jagan also allowed the Konoha no Kiroi Senko, Konoha Yellow Flash, to use his ultimate technique, the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique. Naruto's smile faded a bit when he saw the look on Inari's face. Inari, you're going to be lonely, aren't you? You can cry, you know. I'm not going to cry, but you can, Naruto. Inari responded, holding back tears. Is that so? Naruto's face was a dam that was about to break. See you later. He turned around quickly, he wouldn't be the one to break. Even though he did his best, a few straight tears streamed down his face. Sakura couldn't help but roll her eyes. Stubborn baka. The people of Wave Country watched as the 5 shinobi walked back towards Konoha. The boy changed Inari's heart and Inari changed the heart of the villagers. He created a bridge of courage, which led to hope, Tazuna said. You know, speaking of bridges, we still have to name this one, said one of the villagers. I forgot, but I've got the perfect name for the bridge. Tazuna said. Oh, what is it? Asked another villager. Tazuna focused his gaze on the retreating form of Naruto. How about the Great Naruto Bridge? Tsunami giggled, that's a good name for it. Alright, as soon as we get home I'm gonna have Iruka-sensei treat me to some ramen to celebrate the successful completion of our mission. Then I'm gonna make Konohamaru listen to my tale of bravery. Then I'll "Hey Sasuke-kun," interrupted Sakura, "do you want to go on a date as soon as we get back to the village?" "No," was his simple one-worded answer, to which Naruto and Haku couldn't help but rolled their eyes. Then Naruto decided to speak up. "Hey, I'll go," he offered cheerfully. "Shut up and be quiet, Naruto baka," snapped Sakura before hitting Naruto on the head. Haku slapped his own forehead at Naruto's hopeless crusade to get Sakura to notice him, much less win her heart. The trip to Konoha was a few days longer than the trip to Wave. Without the worry of getting Tazuna to safety and Sasuke and Naruto's training, it was understandable. Sasuke was working on activating his Sharingan at will and sustaining it. During the rigorous training, he managed to get a second Tamo in his left eye. Naruto's training consisted of keeping the Jagan open and using it to help with his chakra control. During these sessions, Sakura would train with Haku, who trained her in some basic healing methods and techniques, as well as some taijutsu to supplement what she had learned from the Konoha Ninja Academy. "Naruto, what's with the eye of yours?" asked Sakura as she took a break from her training. Naruto was standing in front of a large bonfire, trying to use the Jagan to control the fire, with minimal success. His hair was standing straight up, and his Jagan was glowing a bright teal color, and he was only wearing his orange jumpsuit pants. He didn't want any more shirts to meet the same fate as a couple others had during their travels. She could see the seal on Naruto's stomach dissipate as his chakra went back down to normal levels. When asked about it, Naruto evaded answering, saying that it was just some sort of containment seal meant to help him control chakra. While Sasuke, Haku, and Sakura would tell he was telling the truth, Naruto was a horrible liar. They could also tell he was leaving something out, as his smile would falter for a quick moment before he became loud and overly cheery. After thinking on it for some time, she realized that Naruto always acted like that, and she wondered just how much of the real Naruto anyone ever saw. "It's called the Jagan," he answered her. "It's like Sasuke team's Sharingan or the Hyuga clan Byakugan." He turned to her, looking at her speculatively. After finding out he had a bloodline limit, he had practically grilled Kakashi and Haku on everything they knew about others that could be found in Konoha or anywhere else. Haku told him about his Hyoten, ice release, abilities, and Kakashi mentioned one that had once been found in Konoha and used by the Shodaime Hokage, called Mokuton, would release. He also compared the Jagan to both the Byakugan and the Sharingan. Kakashi then told Naruto rumors of an ability to manipulate bones called Shikatsumayaku, dead bone pulse, which was thought to have been eradicated by Kiri. Of course, the Hyoten was also thought to have been whipped out, so there could be other unknown survivors of the Bloodline Limit extermination that took place all those years ago, though it was highly unlikely. Not much was really known about it since the massacre had happened a decade prior and Kiri had all records of their native destroyed. "Surely it can't be," as Kakashi interrupted what Sakura had been about to say by covering her mouth. "Trust me, Sakura, whatever you do not under any circumstances insult that eye, even unintentionally," he told her. The look in his exposed eye was enough to placate her anger, albeit temporarily. Even Sasuke and Haku looked curious about his reaction. The origins of the Jagan are a mystery. Unlike the Byakugan or the Sharingan, it is not a native to Konoha. In fact, it's so rare that there is only one other known sighting of the Jagan in all of the elemental countries. Other than the fact that the majority of the Jagan's abilities are unknown, even to those with the bloodline, what really sets it apart from others is the fact that it has a consciousness separate from the wielder. Everyone I've seen insult the eye has died, no matter how much more powerful they were than the wielder. You said there was only one other person to possess the Jagan, and considering what you just said, it sounded like you knew that person. Who were they? Asked Sakura. "I mean, we never learned of the Jagan in the academy," and she glanced quickly at Naruto and took a deep breath before continuing. "As far as anyone knows, Naruto doesn't have any family. What happened to them?" She was very hesitant to ask. After all, it was very hard to miss the glares that the townspeople sent at their blonde teammate. One would often think it was for all of the pranks the blonde ninja had done in the past. However, with the emergence of one had to wonder if his family had somehow dishonored Konoha. While she was curious, she didn't want to pry too far into other people's business. Kakashi glanced quickly at Naruto, whose facial expression was wearing a very saddening frown. "After we get back, Kakashi-sensei, and I have to talk to Aji-san first. Afterwards, we'll tell you what we can." He then turned and walked into the forest away from the campsite. Naruto, Sakura whispered. "Don't worry, Sakura, he just needs some time to himself," Kakashi reassures her. Naruto had been oddly quiet for the rest of the trip. So much so that even Sakura was showing concern for her normally annoying blonde teammate over fawning over her beloved Sasuke-kun, much to the relief of everyone, especially Sasuke. Though he tried not to show it, even he was concerned about his teammate. As they approached the gates, Naruto closed the Jagen and tied his hit back around his forehead. When questioned, he told them he hadn't wanted to reveal it to anyone yet before they had spoken with the Hokage. "Hokage-sama, Team 7 reporting another mission successfully completed," said Kakashi. "It's good to hear, although I must admit I got worried when our patrols picked up the Demon Brothers not too long ago," Sandaime said. "So tell me, Kakashi, who is this?" Indicating Haku was the one he was asking about. "This is Haku. He was Momochi Zabuza's apprentice and wishes to become a Konoha shinobi," said Kakashi. "He has considerable skills with various flora and fauna in uses of medicine, and with some training, could make a good medic nin, as he has excellent chakra control from what I've seen. He also has a kekkei genkai that allows him to use Hyoten jutsus like the Shodaime could use Mokuten jutsu." Kakashi then took a steadying breath. "There is also one other thing to report," he said with great hesitancy. "Oh, and what would that be?" asked Sandaime with an interested look, worry evident, as he caught the uncomfortable looks on Kakashi and Naruto's faces. "It's awakened, hasn't it?" Kakashi raised an eyebrow, but Naruto's expression went from uncomfortable to shocked to anger. "You knew, didn't you?" he shouted angrily. "You knew all this time he was my father, and you didn't tell me," even after Naruto closed his eyes tightly and pulled the hit off of his head. Although his hair was now standing straight up, the eye had not opened. "You weren't supposed to know until absolutely necessary, either until after you became of age, made Chunin, or in case you're awakened," Sandaime said apologetically. It was one of his final requests. "Just like I was to be seen as a hero?" Naruto asked bitterly, like anyone really followed that request. "Naruto?" Sakura scolded him, only to have Naruto turn around and glare at her. The Jagen was glowing fiercely. The intensity of his glare was such that she flinched back instinctively. He had never even so much as gotten annoyed with her, nor had he ever said anything bad about her. This look was completely out of character for him to direct at her, and she had to admit that look was startling enough without making her constantly challenge everything she knew about Naruto. "Tell me, Sakura-chan, how would you like it if the man you looked up to more than anyone else, the one you respected above all others, was responsible for nearly every horrible thing that has ever happened to you?" asked Naruto angrily. "That even after all of that, you come to find out he was your own father." He did not shout any of this, nor did he even sound angry. It was clear he was upset, and there was a hint of fear and desperation in his voice, though one had to truly listen to catch it. "Naruto, I assure you Arashi only wanted the best for you. It pained him greatly to know that you would grow up alone," said Sandaime. "But you must understand, he made a great deal of enemies. You would have been even greater had it been known that you were his son." "Whose son?" asked Sakura. "Naruto's father was also my sensei Kazama Arashi," the Yondaime Hokage Kakashi informed them. This brought shocked looks to Sasuke, Sakura, and Haku. "But I don't understand what," Sakura said confusedly. Naruto looked at them in sadness. He closed the Jagen and tied the hit back onto his head. "Go ahead and tell them everything. It's too much for me to deal with at the moment. Iruka-sensei or Konohamaru should know where to find me." With that, Naruto walked out the door in a sort of daze. A devastated look marred his face. Naruto was walking aimlessly through the streets of Konoha when a square rock with eye holes began to follow him. He sighed. He really didn't feel up to this at the moment, but Konohamaru and his friends always proved to be a great distraction. He didn't know if it was Konohamaru's blatant hero worship of himself or the way the other two, Yuden and Mogi, seemed to look up at him with admiration and respect, but even in his darkest moods they could usually cheer him up fairly quickly. Perhaps it was because, after Iruka, they were the first to accept him, to see past the mask he put up and the pranks and saw him for who he was instead of who, or what, he appeared to be. Just this once he'd thought, for perhaps the 1000th time, "I'll humor them a bit. You know, Konohamaru," Naruto sighed, "rocks aren't perfectly square and they don't have eye holes." "Just what I'd expect from my eternal rival," shouted the rock before exploding into multicolored smoke. When the smoke cleared, Naruto could see 3 young children on their hands and knees in a coughing fit. "Too much gunpowder," said the one in the middle, who was wearing a yellow shirt, khaki pants, blue scarf, and a set of green goggles. When they noticed Naruto was watching them, they all shot up to their feet and struck poses. The first up was a girl with orange hair and rosy cheeks. She wore a pink shirt with a maroon vest, a cape over it, and khaki shorts. She, like Konohamaru, wore green goggles on her head. Sexiness of an adult, Kunoichi, Mogi. The other boy, who wore a dark blue jacket, khaki shorts, and giant glasses on his face, as well as yet another set of green goggles. I love assembling models, Yuden. The leader, not to be outdone, was the most enthusiastic of the bunch. The village's #1 genius ninja Konohamaru. In unison they all said, the three of us together make the Konohamaru core. Naruto couldn't help but smirk at their actions. What's with the goggles? We've decided to copy the old you, said Konohamaru proudly. Naruto smiled at the young boy. Don't ever change, Konohamaru. He then took the rooftops heading towards his spot. Konohamaru-kun, is Naruto Nai-chan all right? Asked Mogi. The normally cheerful and energetic leader frowned a moment before giving her a small smile. He will be. Nothing keeps the boss down for long. The genin and Haku looked uncomfortable and upset at what the Hokage and Kakashi told them. His eyes, Haku whispered. At everyone's questioning look, I've only seen those eyes on one other person, and that was when Zabuza and I left Kiri. They held the same expression mine did before I was found by Zabuza. They're similar to both Sasuke-san and Kakashi-san's, but also far different. Judging from Kakashi's exposed eye, Sakura could tell he was frowning. Sasuke, on the other hand, remained emotionless and silent. He neither confirmed or denied anything Haku had said. Sakura was dismayed, and for the first time she took a look at those around her and realized just how lucky she had been. Sasuke-kun's entire family had been killed, Haku's father killed his mother and tried to kill him, and it seemed Kakashi-sensei was hiding some sort of dark past as well. He's good at hiding it, but it's painfully visible to those who have suffered as much as he has, or to those who now look, said Kakashi. I'll be the first to admit that I too fell into the same trap as the villagers. While I did not hold the same contempt for the fox the village has, I did not step in to help him either. Worry not, Kakashi, he bears no grudge against you, said Sandaime. Still, I think it's time to find Naruto and show him that you're still his friend. While you may not be the closest of groups, he has found a measure of acceptance with each of you, and he fears losing that more than anything. Sakura, Haku, and Sasuke each went after Naruto. They took Naruto's earlier advice and sought out Konohamaru, as Iruka was still teaching classes. Needless to say, they got more than they bargained for. Hello, Konohamaru-san, have you seen Naruto around lately? Asked Sakura. She smiled sweetly at the little boy. He only growled in response. Why? He yelled, haven't you done enough already? He wouldn't even stop to play ninja with us like he promised. Sasuke snorted. A ninja playing ninja? That was obviously the wrong response, as Mogi and Yuden immediately latched on to Sandaime's grandson. Let me go, I'm gonna kick his ass, yelled Konohamaru. Let me go. I can't let him get away with making fun of the boss. Sasuke raised an eyebrow at the small boy's behavior, while Sakura looked shocked at the sheer amount of protectiveness and devotion he had for Naruto, while Haku merely smiled at the boy. Haku squatted down to Konohamaru's level and smiled. I assure you, Konohamaru-san, we do not wish Naruto-sama any ill will. He's just down from some things he found out today, and we wish to cheer him up. Do you know where we can find him? Konohamaru calmed down visibly, enough that Yuden and Mogi let go of their leader. He still glared at Sasuke suspiciously. Turning back to Haku, I believe you, but if you hurt Nai-chan, I will kick your ass. His glare was mostly directed at Sasuke when he said this. Sakura finally had enough of it. Quit glaring at Sasuke-kun like that and just tell us where we can find Naruto, she demanded. How dare he glare at Sasuke-kun like that, yelled inner Sakura. After a fierce glare at Sakura, Konohamaru gave in. Fine, I'll tell you. When boss wants to be alone, away from everyone, he goes to the top of the Hokage mountain. He said it helps him think when he's away from everyone, and the Yandaime's head has the best view of the village. Thank you, Konohamaru-san, smiled Haku. If you continue to protect your precious people, you will grow strong. Remember that, said Haku, as the trio left the Konohamaru core in search of Naruto. Konohamaru smiled at Haku. You're nice. You'd be much better for the boss than the big four-headed girl he likes so much. You're much prettier too. He blushed slightly when he said this. Haku sighed and restrained Sakura as she charged at Konohamaru. Mogi, and Yuden cringed in fear behind him at the murderous eyes of the pink-haired Kunoichi. "I'm a boy," he said, as he walked off, more than a little aggravated that people kept assuming he was a girl. They left behind 3 gaping children. It wasn't long afterwards that the 2 genin and the former nuke nin found a very dejected Naruto sitting where Konohamaru said he'd be sitting on top of the Yandame's head looking out over the village. "I'm surprised you're here," said Naruto. Even Sasuke was surprised that Naruto was able to sense their presence. "Don't look so surprised, it's just a little side effect of the Jagen. It seems as if the world is much clearer than it used to be." He gave a small smile before going silent once more. Much to everyone's surprise, it was Sasuke who spoke first. "Even with your new and your furry little problem, you're still a dope. Is that so?" said Naruto in a low voice. "Then let's go to the training grounds so I can kick your ass, Sasuke team." When he looked back at his teammates and Haku, he gave them a foxy half grin. "Get real, loser, I wouldn't even have to activate my Sharingan to take on the likes of you," said Sasuke arrogantly. "I'll kick your ass so hard not even your precious fangirls will want to be near you," shouted Naruto. "Naruto Baka, if you even think about harming my precious Sasuke-kun, I'll make sure you won't be able to eat ramen for a week," threatened Sakura. "That's right, and then we'll beat the Dino pig to a pulp and Sasuke-kun will be all mine." "Shanaro!" Inner Sakura exclaimed while pumping her fist up and down over her head. "Sakura-chan!" whined Naruto. Haku smiled. Those 3 were going to be just fine. A week later, things were back to normal, except Naruto didn't bother Sakura so often. Not that his teammates noticed, or at least Sasuke didn't. Sakura actually began to miss the blonde's attention as she began to realize he was always there to help her when she was down from facing yet another of Sasuke's rejections. Naruto spent most of his time either training his new kekkei genkai or practicing kenjutsu after Kakashi gave him the Yandame's sword, Shiken no Ryujin, Fang of the Dragon King. To help with this, Kakashi got Gekko Heiate, as well as Mito Guy's student, Ten, to help with Naruto's training. Kakashi could see Sakura become more and more visibly depressed as time went on. When he investigated, he noticed what she had, although he had come to the realization much faster than she did. "You don't know what you have until it's gone," he mused to himself. Then he looked over to Naruto. However, he isn't gone yet, his feelings are very much the same. He's just trying to suppress them to keep himself from being hurt. Kakashi frowned, thinking back to when Naruto changed his behavior towards Sakura. He then shook his head sadly. Of course, if he didn't stand a chance before, he thinks there's no hope now that she knows Naruto. Haku had gone through an evaluation of his skills. Sandaime placed him as a Chunin with eligibility for the Jounin exams in 2 years' time. He was placed in the hospital to learn more from the medical staff there. Haku's skills had shown enough promise that he was placed in training under a very promising genin named Yakushi Kabuto. As stated before, things were pretty much back to normal almost. "Sasuke-kun, would you like to train with me? Boost our teamwork skills?" asked Sakura, her face filled with hope. "No, you're annoying," said Sasuke. "You have absolutely no talent, and your skills are even worse than Naruto's before he awakened the Jagen." "Oh, alright," said Sakura dejectedly. Worse than Naruto, she let her head fall down as she walked away depressed. A few blocks away, Naruto was sitting in the lotus position on the roof of a building. His eyes were closed, and his Jagen had started to glow with great intensity while he clenched his hands into tight fists. He had seen and heard the entire interaction between Sasuke and Sakura. "Baka, Sasuke team," he muttered to himself. "Yo, Naruto, what's going on?" asked Kakashi. Naruto sighed. Nothing, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto had gone through a complete wardrobe change. He now wore an orange sleeveless shirt, black baggy pants, with boots that went halfway up his shins. He was wearing his Hitayite, which now had orange cloth instead of blue, around his waist. He wore a simple black headband around his forehead, which was currently in his pocket, to conceal the Jagen, a black wristband on each arm, and a black trench coat with 2 orange stripes that stretched the entire length of both arms from the cuff to the collar. "Sasuke rejects Sakura again?" he asked innocently. He had been observing Naruto when he was observing the other 2. Only one thing ever made him react like that. "I don't know what you're talking about," shouted Naruto angrily. "She'll eventually come around, Naruto," and Kakashi consoled him. Naruto grunted. "This I sees more than you think, Kakashi-sensei," he said sadly. "I don't stand a chance, not now, not ever." There's still time, after all, you both are only 12, Kakashi said, trying to boost Naruto's spirits. It was unnerving having to do so, when far too often it was the other way around. You don't get it, do you? Asked Naruto respectfully. I can see everything in the smallest detail when I concentrate hard enough and take the time to notice. Sasuke's constant rejections haven't gone unnoticed. He had far fewer fangirls than he used to. Many of them, that he still has, react differently to him now. He's less of an idol to them, but not Sakura. She's so determined, her feelings run much deeper than the others, even that Ino girl she's always competing with while the others are chasing a dream. She's trying to bring out the real Sasuke. He hides underneath all the layers of emo-ness. She loves him even more than she knows. I wonder if this is how Obito felt all those times. Kakashi gave Naruto a sad smile that went unnoticed due to his mask. Things will work out. They always do, said Naruto sagely. So, what do you need? I doubt you came to talk about my lack of love life. Kakashi smiled. Yes, well, I want you and the others to meet me on the bridge tomorrow at noon, and don't worry, I'll let the others know. Go ahead and continue your training. Later that day, Naruto was walking down the streets when his Jagen began to glow for a moment behind the headband. Konohamaru, you really need to come up with something new. That's when the square rock with eye holes that had been trailing the blonde yelled out, I couldn't expect anything less from my eternal rival. After yet another explosion of multicolored smoke, 3 young kids appeared on the ground coughing on their hands and knees. Too much gunpowder, coughed out Yuden. Naruto mentally sighed at their appearance. His 3 subordinates were still sporting their green goggles, but now they were also sporting trench coats similar to his own. Konohamaru was wearing a black trench coat with a light blue stripe running down the arms. Mogi was black with 2 pink stripes, and Yuden's was black with 3 tan stripes. The 3 saw Naruto watching them and immediately struck poses. The most beautiful and graceful kunoichi in history, Mogi. I enjoy doing long division, Yuden. Genius ninja and future #1 Hokage ever, Konohamaru. And together, they all shouted in unison, we form the Konohamaru Corps. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Taking on more of my style, eh? Of course, I can't allow my eternal rival to be more stylish than we are. Shouted Konohamaru, so boss, you have time, right? He asked hopefully. I dunno, I've been awfully busy lately, Naruto said teasingly, scratching the back of his head. The members of the Konohamaru Corps turned to look at each other, and each nodded. Do it, shouted Konohamaru. Much to Naruto's surprise, Mogi went through a series of hand seals, but he couldn't place the technique as one he'd ever remembered seeing. Puppy dog eyes, no, she shouted. Come on, boss. Play ninja with us, Konohamaru begged. Please. Mogi and Yuden added. Sakura watched the entire scene with a small smile on her face. It was the small moments like these when she missed her blonde teammate the most, as he always had that special ability to lift others' spirits no matter what. I guess I have some time to spare, he said, as if he was busy. A ninja playing ninja, Sakura teased her teammate. Sakura-chan whispered to Naruto. He had been so focused on the Konohamaru Corps antics, he hadn't felt her distinctive presence approach. He was so caught off guard that even Konohamaru caught the expression on Naruto's face when he saw Sakura before it passed. Sakura, on the other hand, remained oblivious to the depth of Naruto's feelings. Konohamaru decided it was time to step in and help the boss for once. Hey boss, is she or you know, he asked, holding up his pinky. After glancing quickly at Sakura to gauge her reaction, Naruto decided on taking the safe route. After all, he wouldn't interfere with her love if he could help it any longer. No, Sakura is just my teammate, nothing more, Naruto said seriously. The words stung. More than they should have, Sakura admitted to herself. Why should you care what he thinks of you? Maybe he finally got the hint and realized that our heart only belongs to Sasuke-kun. Shanaro. Shouted inner Sakura. Sakura didn't answer or even acknowledge her second personality. Naruto missed a brief look of hurt that graced Sakura's face. Konohamaru decided a little bit of reverse psychology was in order to try and get the pink-haired kunoichi to finally see the boss for what he truly was. Just as I expected from my eternal rival. I knew you wouldn't go out with someone like her. You're much too good for her. Naruto's eyes widened in horror, and Sakura's face drooped in sadness as each replayed Sasuke's words to her earlier. Naruto was torn between berating Konohamaru and comforting the now distraught Sakura, however Konohamaru wasn't finished. I mean, who'd want to go out with some flat-chested, ugly girl with a gigantic forehead? Sakura's expression went from dejected to absolutely furious as Naruto became even more afraid. Kuzo run, Konohamaru. The Konohamaru Corps ran at the sight of an enraged Sakura with Naruto close behind. As they turned the corner, Konohamaru ran into a big guy in a black jumpsuit with cat ears. He had something strapped to his back that was wrapped in bandages. "Hey, that hurt you a little," shouted the boy as he snatched Konohamaru's collar. Putting him down, threatened Naruto coldly. He pulled back his jacket revealing his sword. "Don't start any trouble. He'll get angry," said a blonde-haired girl who wore a Suna hit-eye around her neck and a giant fan strapped to her back. "We're here for the exams only, not to pick fights. He's not here right now, and I just wanna have a little fun. Besides, this little twerp bumped into me. I need to teach him to watch where he's going," said the tall stocky boy. Sakura looked at the girl questioningly. "Exams? Why are you here?" I mean, judging by your hit-eye, you're from Suna, but even allies of Konoha need a passport signed by the Hokage." "You mean these?" said the girl arrogantly showing her passport. "We're here for the Chunin exams. Seeing that you don't know about them means you must be a rookie. Just pathetic little weaklings. I won't repeat myself again." "Him. Down." Naruto's eyes became slitted. "What are you gonna do? You're almost as small as this," taunted Suna Nin. Before Naruto could move, a rock struck the boy's arm, forcing him to release Konohamaru. "Kuzo, keep your nose out of where it belongs," the boy shouted to the branch of the tree on which sat Konoha's current Rookie of the Year, Uchiha Sasuke. He crushed the rock he was holding in his hand. "When it concerns a fellow citizen of Konoha, it concerns all of us," Sasuke said, "especially when you decide to pick on the Hokage's defenseless grandson." "You want trouble, eh?" asked the boy angrily. "Let's see how you handle this," he said as he pulled the object off his back. "You're not going to use that if you," asked the blonde-haired girl with a worried tone. "I wouldn't if I were you," warned Naruto. "And why is that? Scared?" taunted the boy. "No, the guy with the gourd on his back on the branch next to Sasuke is becoming very angry at you," said Naruto. Everyone looked back up at the tree in shock, even Sasuke. "I didn't even sense him, and he was right next to me," thought Sasuke, the shock evident on his face. The second boy's face flitted with surprise before turning to annoyance. "Kankuro, quit making a fool of yourself or I will kill you," he said. "Gaara," Kankuro whispered as the new kid, Gaara, disappeared in a swirl of sand and appeared next to Kankuro, Naruto, and the blonde girl. Only Naruto and the girl heard him. "You're an embarrassment to our village," Gaara emotionlessly scolded Kankuro. "What did you think we came to Konoha to do? Listen, they started it." "Shut up, or I'll kill you," Gaara threatened, and by the look on both Kankuro and the girl's faces he would more than likely live up to his threat. "I got it. My mistake," apologized to Kankuro with a terrified expression on his face. I'm sorry. Very, very sorry. My apologies to you guys," Gaara said to the genin and kids next to his teammates. Gaara looked towards Sasuke. He was able to hit Kankuro with that stone so easily, he's good, he thought to himself, but this one he had no problem sensing my presence, he's just as good and yet familiar, he thought as he turned his gaze to Naruto. So familiar, thought Naruto as he watched the red-haired boy. "We're leaving," Gaara ordered the other two. "We did not come here to play around." "I know," acknowledged Kankuro. Sasuke jumped down to join his teammates. "What is your name?" he demanded of Gaara. Kankuro flinched, but the girl had a faint blush. "Do you wish to know my name?" she asked. "No," Sasuke said coldly, "I want to know his," he said, pointing at Gaara. "The one with the gourd." The girl tried not to let her disappointment show. "Sabaku no Gaara," he answered, "I am also interested in you too. What are your names?" he said, nodding towards Sasuke and Naruto. "Uchiha Sasuke." "Uzumaki Naruto," said Naruto. Only Gaara saw the brief glow of the Jagan underneath Naruto's headband. "It was hard, wasn't it?" he asked Gaara. Gaara stiffened at the question. The others only looked in confusion at both Naruto and Gaara. "The loneliness was hell, wasn't it?" "Always asking yourself what your purpose was." "You know nothing of what you speak," Gaara replied coldly. Kankuro and the girl trembled in fear. "I understand far better than you think. We're the same, you and I." Naruto closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, they were blood red and slitted. Kankuro and the girl stepped back from the two. Gaara's eyes widened in surprise for a quick moment before he merely grunted in response and walked away, his companions trailing behind him. "What was that about, boss?" asked Konohamaru, who was proud of his boss showing up as the Uchiha prodigy. "You were so cool." Unlike other times, Naruto didn't say anything for a long while, his eyes never leaving the retreating backs of the Suna Nin, though they had since returned to their normal sapphire color. He then turned to Sasuke and Sakura with a frown on his face. "That boy, he's like me. We have to let Kakashi-sensei know about this when we see him tomorrow." Sakura and Sasuke nodded in understanding. Konohamaru just looked at Naruto with a confused expression on his face. His friends were equally puzzled. "What do you mean by that, boss?" Naruto simply squatted down to face Konohamaru. "I'll tell you, but now is not the time, alright? When I think you're ready, I'll tell you, all three of you," he said, pointing to Mogi and Yuden as well. Konohamaru was about to protest, but Naruto quickly cut him off. "I promise, Konohamaru. I vow on my dream to be Hokage and our friendship, I will tell you eventually, just not right now." Konohamaru's smile threatened to cover his entire face. Not only had Naruto acknowledged him as Konohamaru instead of honorable grandson, but he truly considered Konohamaru to be a true friend and perhaps a true rival as well. "Sure thing, Naruto Nai-san." Naruto couldn't keep the fox-like smile from showing on his face. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. If you want the next part of this story, let me know in the comment box. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.